Today on the show, Radical Ones, if Nancy doesn't wake up screaming, she won't wake up at all. It's the start of Nightmare on Elm Street Summer with the 1984 classic.
Get it, Tina. The point is that everyone has a bad dream once in a while.
It's time to get radical.
Krueger! Well, it ain't Dr. Seuss.
Well, what are you reading that for?
I'm into survival.
You want to know who Fred Krueger was?
This is it, Jennifer. Your big break in TV.
Freddy's coming for you, radical ones. It's Radical Retro Rewind. Nightmare on Elm Street Summer.
Welcome back, Radical Ones, to another episode of the Radical Retro Rewind podcast. As always, I am your host, Radical Ryan Hunter, here with Rob, the movie geek himself, and everyone's favorite brother, David, for the start of our Nightmare on Elm Street Summer. Radical Ones, we hope you like horror, but if not, don't worry, we'll still supply you with laughs along the way. Also, Radical Ones, I feel like this is 5 years in the making. I'm officially in my move, so the next few weeks, I don't know how I'm going to be with recording and editing and all that jazz. So if the next few episodes come out a little late or whatever the case is, just know it's because I'm moving across country and trying to edit and record and do all those fun things. So David, your relationship with the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise, it started on HBO?
I started dating Freddy at a very young age.
1984, matter of fact.
I didn't realize that we were in an abusive relationship until he really drew his knives. My first initial introduction, shall we say, was a very late night putting on HBO. And from the very beginning, I was horrified and drawn in at the same time. The opening scene, which I actually forgot about until I watched it again, which is so funny. The beginning when Freddy is making his iconic nails, his knife gloves. Like I said, I was drawn in, but I was also terrified. So started my love-fear relationship with the series.
Do you remember? I was terrified of Freddy Krueger. I had nightmares.
But you survived.
Without even seeing a movie at the point. Just growing up, seeing David go to these movies and, with his friends when he was older in the 90s and the merchandise, I would have nightmares of Freddy Krueger before even watching a movie. I gotta tell everybody, Radical Ones, it's been a while since I watched the original A Nightmare on Elm Street, and my God, it's really good. It's different from the rest of the franchise, but it's so good, even as a standalone movie.
The kids of Elm Street don't know it yet, but something is coming to get them.
There's something out there, isn't there?
You could just see cuts happening.
What did that, Lieutenant?
I don't know.
Tina! What's the coroner got to say? He's in the jar and puking since he saw it.
They're gonna kill me for sure.
Did you do it?
There was somebody else there.
He was locked in a room with a girl who went in alive and came out in a rubber bag.
No one knows where it came from or who it will visit next.
Nancy?
There's something wrong with you. You're imagining things.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Do you believe in the boogeyman?
No.
Whatever you do, don't fall asleep.
No!
She's the only one who can stop it. If she fails,
I'm your boyfriend now, Nancy.
no one will survive. From Wes Craven, director of The Hills Have Eyes and Last House on the Left, a new masterpiece in fantasy terror, Nightmare on Elm Street.
The movie is described as, in Wes Craven's classic slasher film, several Midwestern teenagers fall prey to Freddy Krueger. So the interesting thing is they don't call him Freddy in this movie. It's Fred the whole entire time, if I'm correct.
Yeah. I don't think Freddy came in until later.
So a disfigured midnight mangler who preys on the teenagers in their dreams, which in turn kills them in reality. After investigating the phenomenon, Nancy, Heather Langenkamp, begins to suspect a dark secret kept by her and her friend's parents may be the key to unveiling the mystery. But can Nancy and her boyfriend Glenn, introducing Johnny Depp, solve the puzzle before it's too late? We always read these descriptions and I'm always like, is that the movie we just watched? Okay, yeah. So
I bet you he wishes that Johnny Depp could have had the mystery of his ex-wife taken care of in that movie before.
Oh my God. He had different horrors happen in the bedroom after that.
Amber Heard.
You know me. I'm sorry. I got to get this out of the way. Tina's the first character we see in this movie. It starts with her dream, and Tina is Nancy's classmate.
Tina, honey, you gotta cut your fingernails. You gotta stop that kind of dreaming. One or the other.
And let me tell you, Tina is 16 going on 35. Oh my God, especially in those nightmares. I was like, Tina, no. You are an adult. Tina has this dream. Nancy has the same exact dream, we find out.
The worst nightmare I ever had. You wouldn't believe it.
Matter of fact, I had a bad dream last night myself.
Fred Krueger, even in the credits, is listed as Fred Krueger.
I think that was a great opener. I wrote down that the music is phenomenal in this movie. I really enjoyed how creepy and how it made the atmosphere just more dark and spooky. Especially towards one of the other dream sequences we'll get into. But yeah, the music was a great highlight that I noticed this time. Just, it was dark. We didn't really know exactly what Freddy's rules were, like what he was capable of. All we know is that he was a creeper. He liked to tease. He generated the fear, so he didn't attack so quickly. He just let it draw out. And just navigating this maze of a boiler room is enough to just be like, I keep thinking that I've looked up the reason for the goat or the sheep, and I just forget all over again of what that symbolizes. But
you're right.
The sheep was a thing, and it
like a maybe slaughter sacrifice.
It could just be the sound as well. But yeah, what a great open.
It's a slower pace. It's not, of course, as we got on too, we know the one-liners and the comedy aspect grew. But yeah, there's the pace of she walks around a whole bunch before she even gets a glimpse, which is great for setting up this nightmare of a character as well. Yeah, great opener.
I'll have to pay attention as we go through the summer. I don't recall this movie having so many dream sequences. There were a lot. We got a lot of Freddy in this. And I think when the franchise continues, we get dream sequences when someone dies. This one was just more of like Nancy getting, her dreams with Fred multiple times without anyone dying. And it was just the enjoyment of just seeing how far he can go. And not to say that they should have done that format for the rest of them, but that limited how much of Freddy we got, because anytime we were in a dream sequence, it was just to take somebody out. And so this one had a lot. And I wonder if this holds the one with the most dream sequences. We'll have to see. But I enjoyed the multiple times and the interactions we got with him where, somebody didn't have to die. This is the lowest body count, I think. I think it might be tied with part 5. Yeah, I think this is also a low body count. So that's also a thing we can talk about too. If that was like a good or bad thing for you guys, would you have wanted more kills in this slasher, or is it cool that we got more of just interactions in history, Bill?
For me personally, I liked that we didn't have to have a kill every time a dream was happening. And I liked Nancy being able to gather these clues little by little and see her growth actually as a character as well along the lines. I'm totally fine with it. David, are you okay with that?
First of all, I want to go back to what you said about the music. Mm-hmm. Music, iconic for me.
Yeah.
The music for me was not only scary, but also sullen and gloomy me at the same time. It made me almost sad and downtrodden, but it also was scary. So totally amazing. I'm gonna pose the question to you: was Freddy already killing other people in their dreams, or is the reason why he was skulking was he gathering up energy from the fear of the quote unquote children, even though they were like 35? Because Tina, girl Tina, was it because he feeds off of fear and negativity? Was this the beginning? Because, and my question is, when looking at this for the first time with more adult eyes, older adult eyes, when did Freddy actually get torched? Because are you trying to tell me that Nancy, even though she might have lived in a bubblegum, very, world, like she lived in her own bubble and she didn't go outside of it, maybe? You're telling me that nobody knew about a random person getting burnt up in a factory, like down the block? Did they burn Freddy like 10 years ago and all of a sudden now he manifested at a certain point? Or did they torch him a couple of weeks ago? This is what I'm trying to say. So that's kind of where I'm going to bounce off of what you said. Is he just gathering power now? Did he resurrect from the factory because someone was skulking around?
I'm sure there's a lot of takes on this. Immediately what comes up if I were to look it up is that it was the late 60s and early 70s as to when he died. And so this is a generational thing. And I wrote this in my notes. I said the generational trauma that is passed down into their kids. This is a symbol of, of this. And so I think they were just little tykes, because Freddy went after small children. I don't remember them talking about that older kids. And so I think because they had such a motivation to take them out now is because their kids are probably at the same age as his target audience. And so, it says late 60s, early 70s. So I think maybe 10 to 15 years before he started to kind of resurrect himself and go through this. But you have a really good point, because the movie is just so small and limited. Contained, really, it's right? Contained. It's really... That's the right word I was looking for. And, we don't get to hear about any other teens going through this, this mess. And of course it is specific to certain kids, but, we also have to think about like the kids that went to the mental hospital in part 3. How long were they there? When did they start getting, receiving all of those dreams, And so I want to say this may not be his debut, but who knows? Maybe, like you said, or maybe you didn't say this, I don't know. It seemed like he needed to do a little bit of here and there. Let me just pop in, pop out, sort of in a Candyman sort of mentality that unless my name is spoken of, I'm not going to generate any power. Yeah, maybe he played it small from the start and then sort of expanded after he got more power.
All day long I've been seeing that guy's weird face and hearing those fingernails.
Fingernails? That's amazing you saying that. That made me remember the dream I had last night.
What'd you dream?
I dreamed about a guy in a dirty red and green sweater.
Well, what about the fingernails?
Oh, he scraped his fingernails along things. Actually, they were more like finger knives or something he'd made himself. But they made a horrible sound. It was like, scream.
Nancy, you dreamed about the same creep I did.
That's impossible.
This is my headcanon based on, honestly, the stuff that both of David and Rob just said. I always thought it was when Nancy was younger, because if it had no effect on them without children, I don't think they would gather, unless Marge and whatever they had a child of their own. Do people usually go out of their way and go, yeah, let's just kill him, round him up? I think they had children and they were younger. So the 60s and things make total sense. But also based on Freddy versus Jason and them saying, no one spoke my name. That's exactly what I thought. This is just happening. He was gathering his strength and his power this whole entire time, and it set off. So that's what I was thinking.
Well, do you also remember in the movie, it just dawns on me when he goes, look at this, Tina, and he starts cutting his fingers off to scare her even more. So he's gathering up, I'm scaring her by or traumatizing her by cutting my. I would have said, "Good, cut your finger now. Cut your hand off too."
The whole hand off.
Take the whole hand off.
But you're right. And then again, just based on, I know it's because it's the first movie and they didn't set the rules, but just going on what Rob said earlier, the slow dreams, that would help too. Like you're saying, building the fear. See this, he slowly has to build it. And later on in the other movies, he can just go, "Ugh."
Yeah. Also, what a freaking entrance. Like, just because they kind of hit his face from Tina's first dream, and we get hints about exactly who he is and what he looks like, but that intro in Tina's official dream was insane. Ooh. I'm at home doing laundry, which is in a basement of our apartment building. As soon as he came on screen, I regretted starting this movie at this point. And it was late too. Like, I was one of the last to be down there because we kind of aren't supposed to do, laundry after 10 o'clock. So it was kind of getting down to the wire. And I was like, let me just watch this movie. And I was like, this part came out. I was like, damn, I have to go downstairs. That intro is one of the best.
Breaking the rules of the 10 o'clock. That would be your nightmare.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Like, yeah, the music, his long hands, the way he, I don't know what the word, how you would say it, but just like how he was like going all crazy with his run towards her after his God line. And again, I've always said this with Candyman 2 being my favorite, is that when you have apparitions, ghosts, demons, whatever you want to call it, that can just kind of reappear wherever they want. Yes. I don't get a sense of safety anywhere I go. And that is what terrifies me, the fact that he can just kind of reappear wherever. And when he did that on top of running towards her, like, yeah, that was a great entrance. I love his entrance in this.
And of course, that iconic, the arm stretch, scratching the fences.
See, I'll be honest with you, it makes me laugh. I call it the accordion arms.
Oh, really?
Accordion arms.
Marionette
I always kind of laugh about them because I get it. It's like you can't get anywhere, and I'm also going to make the noise with it, but it's almost like...
I like it. Because I laugh. I find it funny.
It reminds me of like the things you see at a car wash, those things that fly in the air that go back and forth. I'm like, I've always admired Freddy for his wit, and I think he gives me snarky, vicious, gay queen attitude too. Just saying.
Especially as the movies go on.
He's very witty. Yes, as the movies go on, but I always have loved that about him. And I wrote that about the accordion arms. I put LOL, just I had to write accordion arms. And I also wanted to write the first encounter that we see on screen now. So there's a point where Tina's being haunted, but she's being haunted in her dreams, and then there is some mention like there was a man with a sweater, and then they start seeing it. But the first time you see that Nancy is being haunted as well is the scene where he's coming through the ceiling. Mm-hmm. Right? Yeah. The first time you see Freddy technically, physically interacting with Nancy.
With her, yes. Because she's kind of like, we go to Tina's house.
But she did claim that she had seen this guy before, because that's when Tina said, oh, you've been dreaming about the same guy. So I wonder when that was, because that was definitely before the ceiling thing. She's seen
But it's like little wisps. It's like little, again, gathering his power. He's just stepping in and just poking the bear, testing the waters.
Yeah.
They both had that nightmare the same night. So yes, I think he was testing out his powers, and maybe Tina was the first, the one he was just like, okay, let me go full force with this one first. But he was kind of testing it out, because when we see that sleepover with Glenn, where the famous murder happens.
Now, does Tina's mom look like somebody that's going to agree to avenge and get this man out of their town? She doesn't necessarily look like I mean, maybe it was the dad that did it. Maybe her former dad did it, but I'm just like, she doesn't seem the type. Rod's parents, yes, I definitely know dad was involved with that stuff.
I felt bad for him being accused of that murder, though.
Yeah, when you're ready to talk about Rod, yeah, we'll get into it, but yeah.
Nancy, I just love her. I love her so much as a character, because she comes off as, and not even Laurie Strode-esque, with that sweater, but I gotta tell you, when she starts getting angry, you bastard, Glenn. I love when she says, you bastard, Glenn.
Glenn, you bastard.
What'd I do?
I just asked you to do one thing. Just stay awake and watch me. Just wake me up if it looked like I was having a bad dream. And what did you do? You shit. You fell asleep.
Nancy?
And then, oh my God, when she gets angry at the bushes and trees in front of her house later on, hits the bushes, makes me laugh.
Mother!
Yeah, this woman is strong.
Mother! What's with the bars?
Security.
Security? Security from what?
I wrote something similar to what I also saw. Nancy is very virtuous, and I loved her little night outfit that she wears. That was hysterical.
Yes.
When she looks at herself after she's been through the mill with Freddy, she goes, "Oh my God, I look 20 years old."
Yeah.
I felt like saying, "Bitch, you don't know what it looks like to look old."
You just unlocked something. I did see this movie in theaters before because that line made the theater laugh so hard. I was like, she really tried to sell that line that she was younger than 20, and then also it's bad to look 20. How dare you?
I wish I looked 20. Girl, I wish I looked 30.
So, stupid question. I remember her, of course, her in the third movie. She keeps that gray, right? Like, she gets the rogue.
Yeah.
The rogue, like, little, I got this forever in my hair.
Yeah, it's sort of like a badge of honor. Like, I went through it, I earned this gray.
I would have dyed that up.
What do you think about this? Rumor is that the sweater was originally supposed to be red and yellow. And Wes Craven read in a psychology book that the colors green and red together people can't process. So what does that speak about Christmas? Isn't that red and green? We could process that. I mean, so there's something about it that will make people feel uncomfortable. And that is why we got the green and red sweater. But I saw someone make a red and yellow sweater, and I'm not unhappy. It looks a little weird.
What is red and green on what does it do in the color wheel itself?
Supposedly it says people have problems processing and it makes them feel unsettled. I also think of Kelly Rowland saying the Christmas sweater always now.
Runs around in a Christmas sweater.
The yellow would have been very happy-go-lucky looking, though, I think. McDonald's, actually? Is that Ronald?
I wonder,
Ronald.
What shade of yellow they use, but yeah, that would have been interesting. I think anything other than what we got would look very like old school Stripe Burglar, sort of black and white, because I think those two colors, red and yellow, would just contrast so like a dark and a light shade of something. So I don't know. I there's something about the shade of green that they used that kept it neutral, and one wasn't like heavily brighter than the other.
It's
so
like a dark
I was
camo
okay.
green, right? It's not like a
camo,
a pretty green. It's not like a Christmas green. It's not like a vibrant, and it's dirty and
so yeah, red and green together makes brown, which I think is pretty cool too, given his hat was brown, and there's just sort of like that, deathly brown that he's got in his face too. So it's been too long for me to really imagine it anywhere else. I'm biased.
You're right. I mean, it's so built into this brand for the last 41 years. Also, Radical Ones, I'm just a messenger. It says his face was based off pepperoni pizza.
Yeah,
what is
Pizza the Hut.
That's what I'm saying. We had weeks of now characters based off pizza. Ooh, New Line was not the first people to pick this film up. A matter of fact, no one wanted to pick it up. And this is the craziest. You thought the pizza was crazy? Disney wanted to do this. They said, just make it a little less, not as scary and horrific. What?
Yeah,
what?
That would not make sense. I mean,
Can Nancy sing to birds? Can Nancy sing to birds at a well?
Oh my God, can birds? She's Snow White.
I mean, Disney back in the day, especially in the 80s, have made some questionable stuff.
Yes.
And I think that if it wasn't in the same realm as like Return to Oz or Neverending Story and things like that, like this movie just would not have worked. It would need to be in that same category of what is considered adult or whatever. But Disney wanting to do horror makes absolutely no sense. You can't just go in there and just be like, we want your horror movie, but we don't want it to be scary at all. That's just weird.
Picturing them singing. I'm picturing, what is that, zombies, Dave? Like, what is that? Zombies versus vampires. This is what this would have been.
That's a good series, and I like it, especially
the new one's coming out.
I not watch that yet.
Do it like a zombie does.
So New Line Cinema was actually the one that picked it up. Of course, it's
New
Line.
Good for them.
Saved them from bankruptcy, David.
Yeah,
that's what it says.
Exactly.
They are nicknamed the house that Freddy built because they were saved by Freddy Krueger. Good for them.
I had a question. Do you guys happen to know if you've ever had a dream in a linear sense? Because dreams are usually done in fragments and they sort of jump from one to the other. Like it's not common to have a linear dream, but do you guys ever recall sort of like a dream that goes in sequential timeline? Has that ever happened for you? These dreams were done in linear form. We got a beginning, middle, and end to their, their deaths. And usually dreams wouldn't be like that. So I'm curious if you guys happen to remember ever having a linear dream before.
I can say I have. I actually used to be, I can't remember most of my dreams now, but I used to be the funny thing is that's what another thing that appealed to me about these type of movies is that I used to be very
in control.
So I used to be able to do certain things in my dreams. Like I could do a third party, like look down at myself and know that I was like in my dream that I was dreaming, if that sounds ridiculous. And a matter of fact, I had a dream that Freddy Krueger was going to kill me. And I said to myself, I'm just dreaming. And I kind of withdrew myself from the dream, and my physical body was being killed in the dream, but I was like, I'm just dreaming.
Never.
And I also, a lot of the dreams that I dreamt come true. Like I've known multiple times that I was going to get a job because I had dreamed that I was sitting with the person getting interviewed at that office wearing that outfit. So, I don't know if people believe that kind of stuff.
Medium.
Well, I'm not saying like I'm super psychic or anything like that, but I definitely, I used to be very good at it. I have horrible sleep now, so it's like to even dream is like a big thing. But yeah, I can honestly say I used to be very dreams, like very, yeah. So that's another reason why the dream thing appealed to me.
Yeah.
Like, especially like the Dream Master, because she was control of her dreams, so to speak.
This is just a dream. This isn't real. This is just a dream. He isn't real.
I gotta say, there is nothing better than when you do realize, I think, when you can add to the dream, you're kind of awake, but you're kind of not. And you're probably like, can I throw people like Prue Hollowell and have the sound effect? That kind of dreams that I wish I could have more vividly.
Yeah.
But no, Rob, the only thing I can tell you is I have nightly recurring dreams. It's the same dreams. I didn't graduate high school. I have to drive in the middle of the night in a snowstorm to Blockbuster Video from my childhood. Nightly. Yearly, I'm being attacked by people. This is my dreams.
God, really?
So I don't know. Maybe
you're gonna get to Blockbuster, and what are you renting?
It's closed, or it's the middle of the night.
That is a metaphor for this podcast, Ryan. You need to work on that.
Sometimes I get in. No, sometimes I get in, and I'm the only one in there, and I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing.
And then you go, and everything is rented. All you see is empty.
No, it's all there.
Empty sleeves everywhere, and there's not even any candy to buy.
What's funny is the Blockbuster that I get into has DVDs, and Rob will picture this, I'm sure, around the outer.
Yeah.
And then middle is all VHS. And I'm like, they still have all these VHS tapes from when I was a kid. Like, it's amazing. I wish I had more of that.
You're hysterical.
Rob, do you actually have like these?
No, like from beginning to end, no. There's definitely been a sequence where, I'm going in order or whatever, but out of nowhere, I'll jump to a different location or something. Like that happens.
The jumping.
Yeah. I think Freddy still is the scariest of dreams that I am currently still having. I don't think anything has really topped that. And again, it's due to the reappearing thing. I'm just always thinking of him in the worst form possible, that he just will not go away. I just can't get away from this man. And yeah, still to this day, if he ever pops up in a nightmare, it will be a bad one. I will be waking up at 3 a.m. Like he still is a thing. But
why did I choose this?
Are you not conscious? Are you conscious? You're not conscious that you're in a dream. You're not aware that this is a fictitious character, that this is Robert Englund?
I think sometimes I am, but I'm honestly powerless. This is his world. Not to give it an explanation, but honestly, I don't have much control when it comes to him, to be honest. I would just have to finish it. I have to tell myself, like, I just have to go through the motions, and something is going to trigger me to wake up. But I can't get out of it.
It's like being in most of my relationships. Just to go through it, to just deal with it, be done with it.
The only way out is in.
When I mentioned that I had nightmares as a kid before even watching this, do you know what stopped the nightmares? Rob, this is what you need to do. I was 5, 6, I don't even know at this point, 5, 6, 7 years old. When I saw him in the nightmare, I said, you know what I'm going to do? I pictured and this is before even I knew there was a Dream Master, there was this, that, pictured houses dropping on top of him, being covered with cement over and over and over, like he couldn't get out. And I stopped having those nightmares.
Okay.
So if you can if you picture me going, Rob, throw houses on him like he was a wicked witch in Emerald City, and then some cement over him. Right?
You mean dream someplace nice on the beach?
I know, right? Yeah, you see what happened to her. She tried it.
Well, it was that outfit that she was wearing. I would have kept up with that too.
It was that outfit.
I have a question for you guys. Did anybody notice who the teacher was in the movie?
Oh,
Nancy's
Lynn
teacher?
Shay. Of
Yes.
course we did. Yeah. She's related to our producer who ends up like taking over towards the end of the series. So Robert Shea is sort of like the right-hand man of Wes Craven when it comes to this franchise. He'll pop up in part 2. You'll see him. And Lynn Shay is related. So, I mean, not to say that's why she was in it, but I'm sure that helped. And, you know, she had her horror start even back then. I love it. I love seeing Lynn Shay as the teacher. She's so
Miss
sweet.
Insidious and The Grudge and all
I
of her
felt
other
so bad
accolades.
for Nancy, though, in that moment where she is. But I did appreciate that the teacher knew that Tina died, and it wasn't just like, she put her hand on her for a minute. Like, girl, you're in school right after this happened. Like, as she's talking about murder and death in the class.
She's like, why'd your mother send you to school?
Yeah, I thought she probably thought too.
Is she drunk again? I saw her. I saw her. All right. I see you, Nancy. I see you, Nancy.
Yeah.
She left you.
No, Lynn Shay tried it. She was like, you need a hall pass. She tried to still instill the rules.
Hey, no running in the hallway.
Let's go back to the scene. So this is Tina gets sliced and diced. Now, I got to be honest with you people. Now, come on. You're telling me, even back then, that we're talking this movie's from the 80s, there is no way in God's green earth, and I understand that as human beings, when we don't understand something, we have to try to rationalize it. You're telling me that they're going to try to figure out, they're going to try to blame a man for slicing up. The door is locked. There's no way that there's four, even if he used a razor blade and did it like 4 times in precision, and that there's blood, she's dragged up the side onto the ceiling that you can't even reach. Or did he have a ladder in there with him? Now you're going to try to tell me that they're going to try to explain this away. And again, I understand the rationale that when we don't understand something, we try to explain it away. I guess this is obviously a movie and a horror movie at that, but there would be more to this than, and this is what kind of gets me in some of these movies where even the most skeptical person would have to say there's something more than a random teenager, even if they were in a fit of rage on crystal meth or something, that the body exploded, or, you know, there are too many things in...
Yeah, Glenn, how do they explain that body?
Yeah, that he just completely putrefied and whatever, that just an explosion, a geyser of blood. There's got to be where rationale, there's no way to rationalize certain things, and to blame this teenager. Yes, he was in the room. Yes. And you could say he was a part of it, but to drag a body up the side of a wall and then to the ceiling? Yeah.
I mean, his reputation alone, he knew better. Like,
he played a guitar. He was playing guitar in a band. How dare he? He looked like he was a menudo. How dare he?
Yeah, there was no way that he was going to stay behind and explain exactly what happened. And so he had no choice but to run. I don't blame him for that. I think...
And he was barefoot.
Yeah.
He ran.
I have a soft spot for Rod, and I'm not going to like go into detail like, oh, he doesn't deserve the rap. Like, he made his choice. He wanted to be a bad boy. It is what it is. But the conversation he had with Tina in the bedroom shows that he has a vulnerable side. Like, he wasn't just this mask, like, toxicity, like, male of just all, you know, like, part of it was a front. This man wanted to be like, I don't want to fight with you anymore. Like, he's initiating, like, we need to be sweeter to each other, and think like there's that moment. And just again, hearing him talk about him dreaming about Freddy in general too was also very vulnerable. But it was, you know, we can go into detail like about like why or whatever, again, the dad at the funeral looked so intimidating. He just like, I can only imagine what it's like in his household. But at the same time, I'm like, I don't blame Rod for running. I don't blame him for sticking up for himself. And he just really didn't know what else to do. And so, I feel for the guy. But yeah, he definitely took on the persona. I mean, that's the thing. You can either, be a bad boy and hide behind that facade and hopefully that makes your life better. But at the end of the day, if you're not going to let people know who you are, like, this is the rep you're going to get. And at that same time, it was his demise. Like, he had to run.
I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm not gonna hurt you. They're gonna kill me for sure.
Nobody's gonna kill you. Did you do it?
I never touched her.
You were screaming like crazy.
There was somebody else there.
The door was locked from your side.
I just guess I'm looking at it from the perspective of modern times, how horrific people are these days compared to, because I don't think wearing a leather jacket and playing the guitar makes you look like a bad boy.
He was trying to play. It's true. He was trying to play early on like he was like that.
I know. They all look the same. It was like him, Johnny Depp, Richard Grieco. They all kind of blended into each other.
But we're also in an era where having sex is turmoil. If you're doing that, you're evil. So that is sort of the world that we live in. And so, yeah, wearing a leather jacket is the equivalent of like,
you are the devil.
He wasn't driving a Camaro or anything. Come on now. Damn it.
So Heather beat over 200 actresses for the role of Nancy, including Jennifer Grey, Demi Moore, Courtney Cox, Tracy Gold, and Claudia Wells from Back to the Future.
Tracy Gold.
Oh my God.
That's what I said too, Tracy.
But it does give All-American Girl. I mean, these are all great choices. I wouldn't be surprised if every agent tried to get every white actress in their Rolodex an opportunity to audition for this. Yeah, Heather is just in a different league. Sorry about it. Like, this
projects something strength, but at the same time vulnerability. I don't know if it's her eyes, her looks.
You're saying somebody else killed Tina. Who?
I don't know who he is. But he's burned. And he wears a weird hat. And a red and green sweater, really dirty. And he uses these knives, like giant fingernails.
You better keep her home for a few days until she really gets over the shock of this.
I've got something better. I'm going to get her some help.
She's so likable to me. And from what I've heard with Anthony, our friend who's the author, who's been on our summer, he did an episode of our first year. He's met her quite a few times and he said like she's just lovely.
Yeah.
It's wonderful to add that too. Like could say like the actress is really lovely as well to add. And she loves the franchise and she supports it. And I just love that.
I don't think this is any shade to Tina. I mean, again, we didn't really get that many examples of the teenagers in this movie, but just the difference between the two of them is that Tina was just so in her feelings and scared about what is happening to her. And Nancy just continued to go towards it. Like she wanted to go see Rod. She came up with the plan about Glenn watching her. Like she was not going to let this take over her, even though she witnessed this horrible thing happen to her friend. But just how strong she was on burning herself on the pipe to get out of the dream. Like she's thinking as at the same time of being completely scared. And Freddy's like, no, this heifer did not just pop out of a dream without my consent. I know that he was so pissed. Like, I didn't even know these kids can do that. Now I gotta attack a lot faster. I can't be messing around with this girl. But throughout the whole movie, even her first dream with him, like she is on her feet. She's just present. And I really like that written style of her, is that she was just not going to let this get to her in a way like that. She again just went towards the danger and did her best to try and stop it. So I like the way that she was written.
So much so that I always call this Home Alone on Elm Street at the end of the movie, that she booby trapped
the
entire house, pushed him downstairs.
Let's talk about that, okay? Help me out with this. So she calls her dad and was like, I want you to come over in 20 minutes and get this guy when I bring him out. So she had 20 minutes to say goodnight to her mom, like build this house into a saw trap and go into a sleep dream, grab him and come out before 20 minutes was up. Help me. I mean,
and she drank some coffee too.
Well, here's the other thing too, is because she
was just exhausted.
When she went to sleep, she set the clock for 20 minutes, meaning she told dad to come over in 20. Like, I was very confused with this timeline that she set up for herself. I don't know how long it took her to make that house, but why would you tell your dad to come over in 20 minutes? You're still building the trap. Help me out here.
I have a whole thing about this, actually.
I wrote, so would you go first, Ron? Because I wrote a whole bunch of stuff too.
At the 1 hour and 11 mark, 111, Nancy tells her father to break the door down in exactly 20 minutes at 12:30 a.m., making the current time 12:10 a.m. In this time, she manages to set various traps, a bomb from a light bulb and gunpowder,
booby traps,
a sledgehammer, tripwire, and screwing a bolt to the door. I forgot she screwed the bolt to the door too. And then sits with her mother for some time before going into her own bedroom. All of this was apparently done in 10 minutes. She's shown in bed at 12:20 a.m., giving herself 10 minutes to fall asleep and catch Freddy.
Power of the montage.
Okay.
Power of the montage.
Okay.
Oh, I love a montage.
That's how you get stuff done. You do a montage.
So I wanted to go back and mention the instance of the first time that I feel like Nancy understood the dream reality versus real reality when she burnt her arm on the pipe. That's the first time. I wanted to talk about, I called it the philosophy bridge scene.
What if they meet a monster in their dreams? Then what?
They turn their back on it, take away its energy, and it disappears.
But what happens if they don't do that?
Well, then I guess those people don't wake up to tell what happens.
Great.
Booby traps and improvised anti-personnel devices? Well, what are you reading that for?
I'm into survival.
I love the movies where a lot of the time in these movies, between having lectures with teachers and when Glenn, this is kind of like the last scene that Glenn is with Nancy on the bridge talking about I don't know what peoples that he was talking about.
Yeah, he mentioned,
he was talking about a region of people that they believe that they can control the dreams and they turn their back on, then having a bad dream or the evil spirit, they turn their back on it and take away its power. So there's a philosophy. And then she'll show that she's reading this book about booby traps. I'm going to tell you that I believe that she said to give her 20 minutes because she already had those booby traps set up. This is a montage of the stuff that she prepped, but she was also then putting the cords and the wires, like she was doing the last minute stuff. But she already had the hooks on the doors and everything. She was just finishing the finishing touches, screwing in, but she didn't want her mom to blow her drunk ass up by turning on the light bulb. So she finally put the light bulb in with the stuff, but I think she had the stuff prepped already because she was going to fall asleep immediately. So that's what I got from the montage. I feel like she already had this stuff prepped. I think they were showing you what she had done up until this point that she was getting ready. She was getting ready to take on Freddy because, so that's what I think the montage was about. I wrote down the ending always blurs the lines of the dream reality and the reality of Freddy being pulled out of the dream. So there's a lot going on. It's like, when is Nancy really dreaming? When did Freddy get pulled out of the dream? When does Freddy get to go back into his own dream reality? And this is where those lines blur. And the other thing I wanted to throw in quickly is that there is also the imagery of a crucifix that is used throughout, which will lend itself later on to find out about Freddy's origin of his birth to a nun who was unfortunately sexually assaulted by 100 maniacs.
Yeah.
So
was it I thought it was 200, but that might have been too much.
Yeah, the song I think said 100. Yeah, I can't remember.
Like, I feel like she already prepped that stuff. I think she was just
they
were showing you her prepreparation work. Because I think that there's no damn way, especially not sleeping for like 11 days, that her ass was going to be. I can't even do that on full sleep.
She did say, she's like, I heard you could last 11 days, so, I'm doing well. Like, oh, damn, Nancy.
Let's just talk about quickly, too, for me, the murder. So Tina got killed. you see that Glenn
Rob
is murdered. Rob is murdered by being strangled. But this is also part of, which we didn't discuss. We talked about how Nancy is also seeing the murder of, or the up
Glenn,
to the murder of Glenn being murdered in prison. Glenn comes over and she tells her boyfriend to wake her up basically in a short period of time. She wants to go find Freddy. This is earlier in the movie. And she falls asleep and she's walking and she sees Glenn. She's like, "Are you there, Glenn?" And I feel like Glenn, he's sleeping at that point, and that's not really Glenn.
Oh, sure. Yeah. No,
that's not really Glenn. So she walks to the prison and she sees Freddy's about to kill, what's his name? Rod, right? Rod. He's about to kill Rod, and then she wakes up, and then they go to the actual police station, and unfortunately he's killed, and they assume it's suicide. So again, this is where you kind of, those lines of where Nancy is also kind of understanding this realm of reality versus, but it also is very confusing for the watcher because you're blurring those lines of where the reality is and the dream realm is.
I brought something out from my dream. Where did you get that? I grabbed it off his head.
So are you thinking that, because this never happens again, right? Until Freddy versus, I hate to keep bringing up Freddy versus Jason, but I don't remember them bringing him out in the real world besides this movie and Freddy versus Jason.
Well, part 2, he does get into the
realm,
does come but it's not done in the traditional sense as we see in this one. Yes, you're correct that everything else happens in the dream sequences, but yes, these two specifically go on the rule of bringing him out because he can be hurt in this one.
Now, with David mentioning that, knowing the ending and how we actually end the movie, could that be a dream too? That she just never brings him out and she just...
It was left ambiguous. We weren't supposed to get an official answer, so it's really up to us on how we want to interpret it. I think for me, I've always looked at that as Freddy just messing with her the whole entire time. That's what I see, because we don't necessarily get to see how the dream ended, but yet she ended up alive in part 3. So it is what it is. It could be anything that we want. They originally wanted the entire movie to be one dream, like Dallas. Like we were gonna get Dallas. Honestly, they wanted the entire movie because her friends are alive. So we were supposed to get an entire movie of just one dream from, I think, Nancy, and then we find out, whatever. But I was gonna ask you guys, because the scene you just brought up, David, that is my favorite dream sequence. Do you guys have a favorite dream in this one? For me, the scene you talked about with her just sort of running back home, the pancake mix in the stairs, and just the jump through the mirror, and this toe-to-toe, like face-to-face of them, his fingers is all like, when she's got him and they're just holding each other over the bed. God. Glenn is there just sleeping. I loved all of that, but the music specifically in that scene was the best. I would go back and just listen to the music that time when you watch that scene again. It's so good. But her trying to be like, it's not real, it's just a dream. And that jump scare of him jumping through, that was gold to me. So gold. I love that dream sequence so much. But yeah, do you guys have a favorite out of the movie? Which one stood out to you?
I think you said that's my favorite dream sequence as well, Rob. I really enjoy that one. In this movie, unless the whole entire thing where she's throwing him down the stairs and all that is also again, if that's the dream, then I would choose that. If not, it would be that mirror part, exactly what you were saying.
I have to say that too, but I like the ending as far as too, like when she turns her back on him and then she quickly stares him down for a second, which I like that she went.
Yes.
She didn't just turn her back on him. She quickly said, "I take back," and she said, "I take back everything." I honestly, for me, how do I put that? And maybe I'm reading way too much into it, knowing that Freddy Krueger, the character Freddy Krueger, was based on like bullies, right? From Wes Craven.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Knowing that she turns around and says, "I take back all the power I've given to you." We all have been in situations, whether it's been relationships or coworkers or even family members being gaslighted, abused, or put down, or by just society, or just different things. I don't want to, not a boo. I'm not trying to be boo-hoo. I'm just saying the fact that she took back her power and said, basically, "I take back whatever," because a lot of the time we allow people to do things to us, or we lose some of ourselves, and sometimes we lose friends, metaphorically, physically. that meant a lot to me. I really liked that part of it.
You think you was gonna get away from me?
I know you too well now, Freddy.
You die.
It's too late, Kruger. I know the secret now. This is just a dream. You're not alive. This whole thing is just a dream. I want my mother and friend again.
What?
I take back every bit of energy I gave you. You're nothing.
I'm going to jump off of what you guys said. I feel like at that point she did defeat Freddy. And I think the very end of the movie, it was a dream because obviously it wouldn't have happened in reality. But I think that was the restart of her realizing
her
that
nightmares.
Freddy was not defeated. She defeated him at that moment, but he came back, which is what he does all the time. So I think she did defeat him. She took back the power that she gave him, but he said, no, I'm immortal. I'm coming back again. So that's where the beginning started again. But he was toying with her in the sense of, oh, your mom is back, because we know that he killed the mom because she was drunk and passed out in bed. So he got her. We know that he killed all the friends that were in the car, right? That at the end she got into a car. So we know that those people were dead already. So that was him starting the whole process of the nightmare again against Nancy. But I think she did defeat him. She took back the power and he was trying to get her to scare again to start the whole process again. So that's what I feel, because he could have just killed her right then and there. When he jumped and he disappeared because she took back all the power that she gave him, because the other people were already dead. Because we know he feeds off of it. Well, we missed a few things when when he's in the bathtub with her, tries to drown her. There's
which
a
is
few
like
other things.
iconic. Yeah. And she sat through that, by the way, for 12 hours in a bottomless tub mounted over a swimming pool.
Was she naked?
That's what I was thinking. Astonishing. It says she spent an astonishing 12 hours there. So really quickly, without really spoiling it, but I guess it is a spoiler. Part 2, they find her diaries, if I remember correctly, right? It's the same house. She's gone. And then in part 3, I don't remember if she mentions if he's still haunting her or whatever.
No. I think that she sort of moved on, or he moved on. I mean, she's a grown woman now. So technically, it would just be out of spite and pettiness.
The one that got away.
Her. But his goal was to always kill the kid. That's all it was.
But is she taking Hypnosil by that point?
That is also a thing too, is that she hasn't been dreaming for a very long time, but for some reason she was the night Kristen brought her in. So, well, I mean, she just probably caught her off guard. But yeah, I think that also was a thing too. Is
she's like, girl, I got to double up on my birth control and Hypnosil tonight.
She didn't really have. So I did have a question about the phone, because that's also a very talked about thing too. I was trying to pinpoint exactly if she was asleep or not and how that even worked, because they don't show her waking up unless she was sleepwalking, and the minute she destroys the phone she awakes, but they don't make it that clear. Whoa, that scene, man, when that phone rang and that music came on, I was like, yeah, heavy.
Radical ones, you'll hear it because we always play the trailer early on. The trailer, if anyone goes back, and I listened to it, has an alternate, unfiltered voice for Freddy Krueger when he says, I'm your boyfriend now. It's just like him talking like a normal human. Like, it's not like this. It's just like, I'm your boyfriend now, Nancy. Like that. Like, it's almost like that. So that was also changed, speaking of that famous phone scene.
Yeah.
Well, I was just thinking, there was a time in my life that I worked 2 jobs. I also went out and partied and hang out with friends a lot. And there was a time that I could fall asleep with a drop of a hat. I remember hanging out and just sitting someplace and passing out for a few minutes because I was just so damn tired. Yeah. So I'm just thinking that maybe between waiting for Glenn at that point as he's being murdered or about to be murdered, I think she may have passed out. She may have just and also, again, I don't want to give it away, but in the new when they remade Nightmare on Elm Street, there's a scene where, because people are so sleep deprived, they kind of pass out for a few seconds that they jump in and out of reality. So maybe that's what the phone thing could have been it too. I think it's just the mind shutting down for a moment and going into a momentary sleep because you're so deprived. I think could be explanation for that.
It's so true. And just really quickly, I thought this was so fascinating. 2 trivia facts. Robert, he cut himself the first time he tried on the famous glove. I guess it was a sign of great things to come. And then also in a 2006 Infafilm release, they fixed something, a continuity error in the release. I don't know if, I guess the DVDs and Blu-rays after that don't do this, but in the scene where Glenn watches over Nancy as she sleeps, she turns her light off before sleeping. It's on when she wakes up. So in this DVD release from 2006, they fixed the mistake by digitally darkening the room when she wakes up until Nancy's mother enters the room and it turns on. Little things like that, interesting.
Did
that
not
they
catch that.
Very George Lucas.
Yeah.
And then the final thing, which might actually lead into something Rob is going to bring up today. Heather mentioned that the actress, Renee Bakley, really did slap her during the kitchen argument scene between Nancy and Marge.
Love. I know that's right. I wonder if it was done by surprise or if they talked about it beforehand.
You'll feel better when you get some sleep.
Feel better? You call this feeling better? Or maybe I should grab that bottle and veg out with you. Avoid everything happening to me by just getting good and loaded.
Fred Krueger can't come after you, Nancy. He's dead. Believe me, I know.
You knew about him all this time? And you've been acting like it was something I made up?
Nancy, you're sick. There's something wrong with you. You're imagining things. You'll feel better when you sleep. It's just as simple as that.
Some people are really okay with
it.
that type of realism. They're like, just do it. Just do it. We gotta sell it, especially if it's gonna happen. Just do it. You know, it's difficult because if she were to permanently like give her a mark, you can't do any more of the movie until it heals. So you're taking a huge risk, but some people really get into it and they're like, just do it, you know? So I love that.
I would like do it, but don't do it too hard.
Don't beat the shit out of me, girl.
Well, the last 2 things that I'll bring up, I just want to make a highlight to Charles Flesher. I always enjoy this fun fact from this gentleman. He has a small little part in this movie, but he is an alum of Wes Craven and horror to our hearts. This is our dream doctor who, you know, talked about dreams and gave her the experiment. This is when we find out she can bring stuff out of her dreams. The doctor is played by Charles Flesher, who is the voice of Roger Rabbit.
Please, Eddie, please.
Yes. And if you guys also remember him, he is our sweet, naive, gullible mailman from Demon Knight, Tales from the Crypt. We loved him in that.
Yes.
But he also voiced the robot in the Wes Craven film Deadly Friend with Christy Swanson. The robot, when destroyed, was put into the dead body of Christy Swanson. But yeah, the voice of the robot was Charles Flesher. I love highlighting this. You know, he has a small role in this, but the man has been an impact on our childhood. So I just wanted to bring that up.
Great.
I don't know if you guys caught this. This is when the bars were put on the house. You know, Glenn says, you know, like, what do you think? Like, what's going on over there? You look like the prisoner of Zenda over there.
I see your mom went ape at the security store today. You look like the prisoner of Zenda or something. How long's it been since you slept?
It's coming up on the 7th day. It's okay, I checked Guinness. The record's 11.
And I was like, what in the hell is that? I had to look it up. So for anybody who did catch this, we got a jock who likes to read. And I love every bit of this because Glenn is just not some
He's not a pretty
crop
face.
top, little pretty face wearing guy.
You know what, though? I got to tell you, he's so adorable in this movie.
Really is.
But I've never been a fan of his. And seeing what he looks like now, I would have said, ooh, Nancy, you girl, you got out in time. You got away from the... I'm sorry. I never found him attractive after this film. Like, growing up when women used to be like, Johnny Depp, I'm like, he looks like a dirty...
Well, that crop top did it for me in the movie, I'll tell you.
In 1984.
Yeah.
But in the 90s, he started looking like a dirty drunk, and I'm sorry.
Well,
Probably was.
So The Prisoner of Zenda is a 1894 adventure novel by a gentleman named Anthony Hope, in which the king of Rutania is drugged on the eve of his coronation and thus is unable to attend the ceremony. Political forces within the realm are such such that in order for the king to retain the crown, his coronation must proceed. And apparently, The Prisoner of Zenda, if you were to Google this, there are about 4 different films of this.
Oh,
really?
Yeah. So, I mean, I've never heard of it before, but it just caught my
I'm so
ear,
glad you
and I
looked
was
this
like,
up.
let me look this up. But I just love it that he is a reader. He's smart. He's got some, he's not just some jock. I just thought that was hot.
I love it is. I love that you also looked that up, Rob, because I always assumed it was like a reference, like you said, like that.
Yeah.
But I never put 2 and 2. So thank you so much
Yeah.
for looking that up.
I can't imagine anyone listening has never seen a Freddy movie, let alone the franchise.
At least one.
But I'm telling you, they are out there. They exist. Maybe we have somebody of a Gen Z generation who's never really heard of this. I think that this is a great introduction to the horror genre, especially with the suspension of disbelief. There are hardly any cell phones or anything like that. Like, this movie is going to date it, and I think that would be an easier sort of introduction into something that will not terrify you as if it could happen in real life. So I would say that this is one of those films that can still be watched today and enjoyed. So I, again, still recommend this after all of this time.
So what Rob is going to do for anyone looking for his recommendations, which is so smart, because a lot of times it would probably end up being along the same lines. So Rob is going to wait till the end of the summer to give you his recommendations on a Nightmare on Elm Street film franchise. But of course, he's always thinking, he's always coming up with something fun.
Each movie, I will incorporate some type of game, activity, something that's thought-provoking to take place for this particular segment. Today, we are going to play Green Flag, Red Flag, Beige Flag. And the topic at hand is going to be on one thing: is Marge a good mother in this film? We are going to go over some of her shenanigans, and we are going to talk about each one in detail. And so we don't have any physical green, red, or beige flags, but I just want you guys to tell me which flag you think this particular situation falls under, and then we'll just give 1 or 2 lines as to why. I think this will be really interesting. We didn't really talk about her throughout the episode, so...
Which is sad, by the way, Rob, because I think she's a scene stealer. And
she is a scene stealer. Yeah, I mean, aside from her character, this woman was acting, she was emoting, she was projecting. I'll tell you right now, when Nancy is describing who this man is, and we get a close-up of the parents who finally realize, like, she's talking about a man that used to exist. And that face of her realization was everything to me. I was like, this woman... love her. So kudos to her. She was a mom.
And David has been imitating her. I want to
So
say
I used to walk around
years.
randomly I'd walk into like Ryan's room with anybody that's seen the movie with a fake cigarette and a bottle, pretending I was drunk and with a robe on, and be like, Nancy.
I think you would say, you want to know who Fred Krueger is?
Yeah.
Anyway,
and I'd be like, you look a little peaked.
Oh, I feel like $1,000,000. They say you've bottomed out when you can't remember the night before. No, baby, I'm gonna stop drinking. I just don't feel like it anymore. Did I keep you awake last night? You look a little bit peaked.
She's iconic.
The woman should have gotten a statue after the bars were put on, and she calls out to her mother, and she walks into the room, she does a pose, and then lights the cigarette, and was like, bitch, what you gonna do? I did it. Yes, I love her. That pose was everything to me.
So good.
She was so proud of herself. She did it all before she got home. Like, she felt so good in that moment.
There you go. These women work fast in this family. They all can do things within 10 minutes anyway.
Okay, so here's the first thing that I will bring up. Marge and her drinking. Red flag, green flag, beige flag. And I want you to really think about why she's drinking in the first place. She didn't really keep it under wraps, but it is apparent. Ryan, which flag are we holding? Do you think it was over excessive? Do you think it was just the right amount? Red flag, green flag, or beige?
I'm going beige. Because I'm in the middle. Like you said, it's more than a typical alcohol issue. I think she's dealing with the fact that they killed this man and burnt him.
What about you, David?
The parent in me is going to say red flag, because whether or not he was horrible or not, she was judged during executioner. So reason why she's drinking is because she can't deal with it, and inadvertently she's not really listening to her daughter, what's really going on.
Okay.
And so she's drinking because of that too, and so
But at
she's
the
kind of
same time,
neglecting.
isn't she functioning? Like she's really good. She
So
puts
she's
those
a high
bars
functioning
on.
alcoholic. I don't know. No, I'm gonna say red flag. Red flag. Even though I love you, Marge.
Okay. Yeah, it's definitely not a green flag. I'm sort of in the beige area. I think you are right. She is not listening to her, but I mean, who would? I mean, this is wild. She's also a woman of suburbia. We're not even thinking beyond the gates of their
True.
so-called good neighborhood. They probably don't think crime exists outside of, like, I just think the realm of ignorance and just being.
Let me pose something to you though. Granted, I have children, and I would not take kindly to someone doing something horrible to children in any way. But did Nancy have a brother or a sister that we're not aware of that Freddy Krueger personally killed? Why was Nancy's mother personally involved in killing Freddy Krueger and then holding on to those claws if she had nothing to do with it?
Well, that's the thing. It's like this particular neighborhood really stood on 2 feet.
Homeowners
when it
association.
came, I mean, just think of Neighborhood Watch. Like they feel they need to be in control. Every Karen out there is going to call the police on any suspecting person in their neighborhood. They are going to stand tall on their neighbor. They don't want that filth in our streets. But I think because Donald is a cop, he is the one that kept it in the house. He was probably the one to leave and lead the charge. He had to be the one to execute all of the things to make sure the parents didn't get in trouble for doing what they did. And so the mom was just a doting housewife that kept the knives in the boiler room of her house. And then they
I'm going to say red with some brown stripes.
No. There are no right answers. I totally understand why you're saying it. My whole point in going through all of that was just to say that if she was sober, I feel she would have done the same thing.
Okay.
That's kind of where I don't think she reached a certain level of alcoholism. I think it's a bad choice to drown your feelings in that. Trust me, that is red flag. But like in the context of her being a mother to her, I don't know if the drinking was completely just like a red. But
maybe if she wasn't drunk, she would. Maybe if she wasn't drunk, she wouldn't have died because she wouldn't have been asleep.
That could have been a thing too. Yes,
that's true.
So we've already brought it up, so I'll do it now. The slap across the face. Nancy mentions you get good and loaded. Oh my God. Somebody has breaking points, but red flag, green flag, or beige? David, we're going with you first.
Red, because there was no reason for her to slap her. It's not like she did something so awful. She held the mirror up to her and she did something wrong. I understand why. Right? I understand why she broke, because she felt like she was justified and maybe she got put in the position that she got put in.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes, like with kids, they can become snarky and you think they know everything. So I understand that. But at the same time, Nancy saw her friend get slaughtered and all this other stuff. And the fact that Nancy knew the guy's name, had the hat with his name in it. There's a lot to this whole story.
She pulled it out of
she should have never slapped. No, there was no reason. She should have been a little more sympathetic and maybe tried to figure out what was really going on here. Supernatural, not. So I'm going to say red.
Red.
I'm really purist.
I'm going to say red flag too, because I don't like slapping or hitting children per se.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say that it's very realistic. I could see this happening in
when
family.
you get here, I'm going to slap you, Ryan. Just
all right. I could see this happening to somebody, but no, I don't think. I think exactly what you said. She held up a mirror to what was going on, and she couldn't handle it because that was the truth. Red flag.
Yeah, this is definitely a red flag. However, I will say this. There are some households and there are some parents who are very old school, and the smallest amount of disrespect, you get your ass whooped. Like, hands down, sorry. Yes, it was in the face. It hurt. It sucked. There are some households who do not play around. The fact that Nancy reached a certain point in her relationship with her mother to talk to her like that is grounds to go to hell. Like, it's really heavy in some households. And I'm not justifying her behavior whatsoever. It was interesting. I'm not going to get too much into this, but I don't know if you guys ever saw Joyful Noise. This is with Dolly Parton and Queen Latifah. Now, this movie is done in a very comedic way. Also talks about Christian values. It's supposed to be wholesome and whatnot. And Queen Latifah slapped Keke Palmer across the face because she crossed her. She said some really horrible things to her, and she got met with a hand to the face. Now, I did not expect that at all, but just the idea that this little girl knew what she was talking about and does not know exactly what real life, like, it just was a moment where I find it interesting that they even allowed that to be a part of her character and allow this woman to slap her as a child and still have the same respect by the end of the movie. It was a really interesting take. I did not expect that to happen. So I just think that, I'm not going to say sometimes childs need to get hit, but like, some households, they will stand 2 toes down and think this is okay. But no, total red flag. You don't put your hand on a kid no matter what. That's just me. But you know, Nancy, she's almost 20 years old. Maybe she thought she was grown for a minute and was like, oh, you wanna talk grown folk business? Okay.
I'm holding this house down myself, Mom.
Okay, here's the next one. Mom keeping the secret of their escapades from Nancy. You know, there is the moment where they're saying goodnight to each other at the end, and she apologizes for not telling her about Freddy and what they did. Green flag, red flag, or beige flag? Should she have told her what we did when you were a little girl?
But he can't get you now. He's dead, honey, because Mommy killed him.
Green flag. Unless it started to affect her directly, which it did, I would not have brought this up, because why put this on your child?
But do you see the pressure that Nancy was just like, how dare you keep this from me? You know?
I'm like, really, Nancy, you really want to know that? Did you really want to know that about your parents? I don't know if I would want to know that.
I'm going green flag. I would never tell my child about this kind of thing. In my wildest dreams, pun intended, would I ever think that it would come back to haunt me? So,
Never
I mean,
like this.
Sorry about it. I'm not just going to tell you just for the sake of telling you. Now, I guess when she brought up the idea of Freddy Krueger and they still tried to keep it secret, but I'm green flag on this. What about you, David?
Green flag, everything you just said, because it would make no sense. This is not a cautionary tale for a child. This is not a bedtime story. Because it's his fucking banquet and I'm the last course.
The next one that I will bring up is Marge trying to give Nancy warm milk. Green flag, red flag, or beige?
What, Mother? Don't fall asleep in there. You could drown, you know.
Oh, for Pete's sakes.
It happens all the time. I've heated up some warm milk for you, honey.
Warm milk? Gross.
Is there a what the F? WTF?
I mean, it's a classic. But when, no.
I'm going to say neutral because we have found that calcium magnesium does relax the body, and that is the reason why warm milk is supposed to... It's supposed to help you sleep, but it's just disgusting.
I know, it's so
I'm going to give you some pasteurized milk, Nancy, and you're going to go to bed now and meet Freddy.
All right, so you're going beige. What about you?
I'm gonna go
wait a minute. I just want you to know I used to call homogenized milk homogenized milk. So it was gay.
Homogenized.
When I was younger, because I did not know how to say homogenized. Homogenized. Just so you know.
Honestly, I guess beige, because I like that she's trying to be very sweet and motherly, but for the same reasons, like,
She says warm milk? Gross.
I know.
I would have said no cookies. No cookies.
I think for the context of her trying to be a good mom, I'm going to say green flag. I've never had warm milk. I can't imagine having warm milk just in itself.
No,
Okay.
I don't even drink milk anymore, bro.
So Nancy's going through it. She's having traumatized episodes at school. She's dealing with a lot. Friends are dying around her. But we're going to add bars to the window. Green flag, red flag, or beige?
I'm going green flag because I'd be so worried that someone was trying to kill my child. I would do it.
But what would the neighbors think?
You let your children be killed. How about that? Look at my bars, and I did it in 10 minutes, too,
right.
before my daughter came home.
I am really conflicted over this. I'm going to say beige, and I'm saying this because I think there were other steps to be taken before being like, I'm just going to lock you in your house at night. You know, she can't even unlock the front door, for God's sakes, let alone if a fire broke out. Like, I'm actually shocked that bars were even allowed on said windows back in the day, because a fire hazard is every single room needs 2 ways to get out.
Yes.
Always 2 ways to get out of every single room. And if you have bars on the windows, there's no way to get out. Like, I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't know if she did it to be petty or if she was really trying to protect her from outside forces. I'm going beige for this. What about you?
On that point, I took it that she was trying to protect her. I mean, it could be petty.
No, that's your interpretation.
Like, you are going to stay here, but...
No, that's good. No, that's your interpretation. I totally get that.
I'm saying beige because it's here. I think she was trying to protect her. I just think it made no sense. And to be perfectly honest with you, if I really thought it was potentially somebody physical that could come after my child, my ass would have been there. I would have said, Officer Bill, I'm going to need a little more child support, and we're going to be getting out of town for a couple of weeks. Make sure you catch said criminal, and we ain't coming back until. So, bye-bye.
Yeah.
I think we got some distant relatives in Dayton, Ohio. My ass is going there. I don't know, but we're out. Peace.
With
That's
her
what I would have
cigarettes.
been doing. I would have said, I'm looking a little peaked. It's time to go.
Okay, I have one more, and then we'll wrap up. Marge taking Nancy to the dream clinic. Red flag, green flag, or beige?
Green, because maybe at that point that was her trying to see if Nancy, one, was struggling with some kind of mental illness. Is there some kind of sleep disorder? What's really going on? I actually think that at that point in time, that was considered like witchcraft and hokey pokey, because dream studies we're not talking like I'm going to get my sleep study, get my CPAP on. That was unheard of then. So really, I didn't even know that existed then. So I'm going to say green plus flag, because that was when she said, I'm going to get her some help.
And it probably did cost a lot of money, too. So, yeah, I'm following up with green.
Okay.
He did try to, like, a physical, like a doctor, and not just, well, maybe she is having nightmares. Maybe it's Dorothy Gale from Return to Oz.
Maybe she needs more warm milk.
Maybe she needs some vodka in that milk from my daily stash.
Sleeping pills. Sleeping pills, Mom!
Yeah, I'm going to go green flag on this. This mom clearly didn't know what was going on with her kid. Yes. And, we're not going to take her to a therapist. Like, something is going on. Let's get an expert on this based on her going through all this through dreams. So yeah, I think this was a nice step. We of course know what's really going on, so it just sucks that she didn't believe her, but at the same time it's like, I don't know what I would do if I noticed this brown fedora in her bed out of nowhere.
Come on,
look
right?
On her face, she was mortified over this, but we never got a follow-up on this, that everything, like, the whole world would have changed for me in that moment. Like, I can't believe
1000%
that
drop,
this exists.
1000%.
But just based on the flags that we have given out, it seems like that Marge did the best that she could. And I honestly think that she is a good mother.
David has... I forged some kind of cigarette and is drinking a glass bottle of water currently.
I do think that she is a good mother. I take into account of how horrified she was when she was cut in the dream sequence.
The lawyers got rich and the judge got famous, but someone forgot the son.
I also think that, like, how quick she ran into the bathroom. She got that hanger and she busted through the door, when she was drowning in the tub. I'm like, Mom, you are wonderful. I just,
While drunk.
She tried to warn her, do not go to sleep in that tub. And she was annoying, but she was right, and she wouldn't help her.
She was right.
Moments like that, I think she really cared for this girl, and regardless of her trying to figure out a way to not make this a reality, like, Freddy isn't real, he's dead, she really cared for her. So that is my final thing. I actually think that she was a good mother, despite her shortcomings.
My final thing is that tub scene would have never happened, because I would have told her, Nancy, now all the filth from your body is just going to fall into that tub and you're just going to sit in it. Just take a damn shower. It'll refresh you, wake you up, and you'll be out in about 10-15 minutes, and call it a day.
You better not have that coffee
Instead of
machine.
having claws up your vajayjay.
Also, who was she talking to when she was like gossiping about Nancy over the phone? Was that Donald? Was she talking to the ex-husband, or did she have like a friend we didn't know?
I hope to God. Or she does have her girlfriends like.
She's like, oh God, remember when we killed him?
Julie, she's doing it again.
Did you get rid of the gas can? Did you get rid of that gas can? I told you.
Literally, my headcanon now is Marge?
Yeah.
Marge.
The day of Freddy's death, in her robe, she was the one who threw Grey Goose on the floor and threw her cigarette at him and lit him on fire. And that is how Freddy Krueger died. And now this is all because of Marge. The rest of these films, all because of Marge. Remember Tommy Jarvis brought Jason back to life?
Mm-hmm.
Marge was the one who killed Freddy.
Well, someone forgot to sign the search warrant, remember?
Oh my God. I love her just because she makes me laugh. Well, we've only just begun, Radical Ones, my God. And like Rob said earlier, these movies are going to get kookier, dreamier, crazier,
Gayer.
over the top, gay.
At least the next one.
And matter of fact, it's like one of my least viewed Freddys. I am fascinated again to rewatch all of these. Rob, in the meantime, when you are not hanging out over here, where can the lovely people find you at?
I am on Instagram, Rob the Movie Geek, all one word. You'll find some of our recommendations listed on there, as well as archived reviews of my collection. So check me out there.
As well as Universal Appeal 2020, all one word for Marge David, who's lighting his pretend cigarette right now. And also the Radical Retro Rewind podcast, one word on TikTok, YouTube, and beyond. Radical Ones, thank you again for joining us this week. We hope you are going to have a blast this summer. We're also looking, of course, for new reviews. If you have it in your heart to leave us a 5-star.
Even if you don't, we don't care about your heart. This is a nightmare. Give us a review, for God's sake.
Just right, Marge sent you.
You know what my nightmare is? Not getting a review from this.
That is our true nightmare. That's our true final nightmare. So Radical Ones, join us hopefully next week on time for Friday the 13th.
Looks like Marge has been hitting the bottle a little early.
For Nightmare on Elm. Nightmare
Cue cards, please. Cue cards,
I mean, we
please.
did have a Friday the 13th
Fine.
this month, so I get it. It's
Thank
fine.
you,
You get a pass.
Thank you, Rob. Cue card does say, A Nightmare on Elm Street Summer. Stay radical, Radical Ones. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.